Welcome home to St. Anne's. Please be seated. We want you to know that you're welcome to join us at 10 a.m. on Sundays.
Back in the
Please
olden
be sure
days
to subscribe
of the
to
Episcopal
receive our
Church,
sermons. We can't wait to meet you.
it was kind of expected that you would dress a certain way for church, right? You know, men looked a certain way and women looked a certain way. The new rules in Missouri, in the Episcopal Church, women had hats. The new rules in Episcopal churches in Missouri is that you wear snow boots, or you're barefoot in church because you already took your snow boots off at the door. But thank you guys for trekking out here. I thought it was very generous that the wind cleared the streets for us. So we all made it. But thank you for hiking out, and thanks for the people who are showing up online, which is one of the great things that we have. And hopefully the stream will actually work this time. But I've been warned that if my mic doesn't work, I have to go to the lectern. Everybody pray that my mic works. We don't have to do that. Okay, so I know it's been a crazy winter, and so church has been kind of touch and go there for a while. So the fact that Lent is coming really, really snuck up on us. I think I can speak universally about that. And so this Sunday is the last Sunday before Lent starts. Lent starts on Wednesday, Ash Wednesday, with the imposition of ashes. And we will, of course, celebrate Shrove Tuesday on Tuesday by eating lots and lots of pancakes. And they have gluten-free options, so make sure you're here on Tuesday for that. That's my plug. And so Lent is always a bit tricky, I think, for us in our culture these days, because we're not really sure what to do with it. And so I want to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that we hear in our readings today and what that might look like for us. Because as a large church, we often talk about being the church in the world and going out and doing things and how do we live in community and things like that, right? I mean, I hope I've been preaching that. So Nod said, yes, Meg, we've totally picked that up in the last 7 years. Live in community, go out and do stuff. Yes. Okay, good, I feel slightly better. And so sometimes I think because we're so focused on those things, because it's so important in our world, we sometimes forget to talk about the personal and private spirituality that is so incredibly important. And so when you read these readings, I think it's very, very shocking to some of us, this idea of they don't say anything, or that Moses veils himself to cover up how changed he is by his interactions with God. So let's go back over that a little bit, because both of these moments are I love chords. The chords are great. Both our story with Moses and our story with Jesus are these big moments, huge moments of interaction with God and divinity in ways that are completely altering. Like, they alter them to a physical place. Moses' face begins to glow when he interacts with God. Glows to the degree, like, not just like you got a sunburn glow, but I think enough that it terrifies the other Israelites. So he comes down off the mountain. He's like, hey, got these cool Ten Commandment things. And they're like, oh my God, what happened to you? And he's like, so I got these tablets. And they're like, no, we weren't talking about the rocks. We're talking about your face. So it's shocking to them. In fact, it terrifies them. It scares them, because you shouldn't have to get that close to God, really. I mean, God is best kept over there, and we're kept over here, and we try not to interact too much with each other because you never really know what's going to happen, but it's usually pretty scary. And so, like, okay, that's not good. That's not good, Moses. You should not look like that. And then, on the other hand, we have this conversation, which is often called the Epiphany, with the Transfiguration of Christ in front of his disciples. And it is a huge moment for them to see, oh my gosh, he's really, truly God. So he has this incredible transfiguration. And he also changes in appearance. So when there's this moment with Moses and Elijah, which are supposed to symbolize, you've got the law and the prophets, right? And then Jesus is kind of king of both. Ha ha, get it? Okay. We're not going to get too much into it, but it's important. But he's changed again. And Peter's like, whoa, that's a big deal. Something big happened right there. And he wants to build some little nice, we're going to build a couple altars. We're going to hang out up here all the time. We're going to worship this moment all the time. And yet it is communicated to him to keep silent. So you have these huge, incredible moments and silence that follows them, right? What's that about? Because don't we have this sense that if there are huge divine moments, that those are meant to be shared, that we should go out and share those moments so that other people know that God is acting in this way in our lives? What's that about? Because Moses starts to veil himself. He covers himself. And the disciples who are there, they don't say anything. What's up with that? What's up with these huge, incredible, divine moments that people don't talk about? Because we want to hear those, don't we? I mean, if anyone here had a huge divine epiphany, like huge moment, wouldn't you want to know? I mean, okay, it's Episcopal Church, so probably none of you are going to do an altar call and be like, hey, y'all. Okay, but we'd want to know, right? And yet we have this sense that they don't talk about it. And I want us to think about that a little bit, because what does that mean for us? And because, like I said, we become so focused on the going out and doing and living in community and being together and sharing. Sometimes we forget the importance of the solitude, the importance of the personal spirituality, these moments where we see and experience the divine, and it's alone. It's within us. And those two things are really, really important because the one feeds the other. You cannot have a corporate spiritual life but not pay attention to your personal spiritual life. And you really shouldn't and can't have just an intense spirituality that's all about me all the time. It's just Jesus and me, Jesus and my bro and me. That's it. Y'all need to be out. Because that's not what the Christian faith is either. It's a circle in which it constantly feeds one again and again and again. And I think, to be perfectly honest, that is the power of Lent in our culture. The power of Lent in our culture is that we are called to take a moment, to step back into that private place with God, to wrestle with all those things that are going on, to come close to the divine, to really truly see the divine, to be changed, to be incredibly, impactfully changed, and to do that within ourselves, to not necessarily do that in a corporate way. So some of that, we're going to see it. Hopefully we don't scream at you that your face looks crazy weird when you come down at Easter from your Lent time. But I want us, because we have a few days before Lent really starts, to really start to think about what that looks like. What does it look like to step into that deep, deep spiritual epiphany where God is transfigured in front of us, and to do that in that place? Because I promise you, it will feed you, it will change you. You yourself will be transfigured. When we come that close to the divine, when we recognize the divine and we see it in our lives right there, we can't help but be changed. But we don't necessarily have to talk about it. And isn't that a little bit counterintuitive? Isn't it? Because don't we think in the church that, well, we need to talk about it. It's a big deal. And yet here I am saying, I want you to get close to the divine, and I want you to be okay with not talking about it. But maybe I need to do the same thing too. Maybe we all just need to take some time to be in a relationship with God that's us right now, and feeding us and transfiguring us. And then in time, that transfiguration will alter the world around us. But it may not be in the ways that we think it is. And it's okay, because guess what? Eventually we found out about Moses, didn't we? And eventually we found out about the transfiguration, didn't we? We found out because the world was changed because of those things. But in that moment, when you're figuring out what that's about, when you yourself are being changed, that's okay. It's okay to be in that place, to be still in it. So I ask you as you enter into Lent to be calm, to be changed, to be still. Let's stand together and say the words of the Nicene Creed. We believe in one God, the Father, the Almighty, maker of heaven